Hello, everyone. This is Shantae coming to you again. I hope everybody's having a good evening. I'm coming with a sense of urgency to drop some information, as always, to give knowledge and nuggets to those around me. For those of you that don't know me, I started my career in finance 24 years ago, literally about 6 months before 9/11 happened. So I have been in the industry long enough to been through upfront row seat to three major, market downturns. The first one lasted for more than a decade. So I did start sounding alarms more than 30 days ago to try to give people opportunity to reevaluate or at least meet with their, a financial professional to reevaluate their retirement situation. I'm more focused on those that are depending on the market for their long-term saving strategies, especially retirements, meaning vehicles that are tax coded and affected by the market, the 401ks, 403bs, 403c, 457s, even a 529 plan if you're saving money for your children, or even if you have a Roth IRA or IRA, you still have market risk. So my goal is always to educate you, inform you, and empower you to have the information to make decisions for yourself. So another day, we see the market still going down. I said stop taking losses in the market weeks ago, trying to prepare you for that more is to come. Now we're here. And I'm hearing a lot of stories, which is really sad because my mission is to try to help people to prevent them from being in a situation where they're about to retire in a few months or they're going to retire within a year or the next 5 years. And now they're looking at the losses that they're incurring on their retirement. So now, if you were planning to maybe walk away and take what you had, you might not have that anymore. There are really serious losses going on and it's keep going. And people just don't know you have options. You don't have to keep ride it out or take the loss. You can't even afford to ride it out. Riding it out is not for the average everyday person if this is your life savings, if this is how you're planning to live your life. Some people have a diversification of portfolio. So yeah, if you have something on the market, but then you have something else that's in safety, or you have money invested in gold or crypto or other places where maybe you're getting other earnings, then it may not affect you as much as for the person where maybe the only thing they have on the market is their 401k, which for most of America, for those that have invested or went that route, that is 100% true. So let me just really quickly, I can't give you a whole, educational or history of retirement in this country within a 10-minute video, but I can just give you the basics. So in case you didn't know, 401ks were not intended. It was reported and cited in 1979 and 1978 that it was not intended to be the permanent vehicle for retirement. When the 401k was introduced by the Revenue Act of 1978 through Congress, passed through legislation, the intent for it was for employees, employers, or people that were earning, meaning working people that were in the highest tax bracket at that time. At that time, the tax bracket in 1978, the higher earners were paying 70% in taxes of everything they earned. Imagine paying 70% in taxes, and we complain about 37% right now. So they needed to be able to at least shelter some of that money by putting a portion of their earnings in a tax-deferred vehicle, which allowed them to be able to earn without having to pay taxes on interest earned or anything that was accumulated, and also not have to pay taxes on that earned income in that tax year because it was put into a retirement plan. So, if you were working at that time, more than likely, if you were working in 1978, you are now that either retired person already, or if you haven't retired yet, you're 100% going to retire soon. So that's just to give you just the basis. And the reason I go back to history is because you need to know why a vehicle was created or what the purposes for it was originally intended, to understand what it does. So when you took a job and you decided to take that employer's 401k or 457 or whatever that is, you are agreeing that I'm going to save long term and endure the ups and downs of the market. In the 1970s, during that time, they had articles and talked about, that it was pretty risky to have something that was long-term savings going up and down in the market. In that time in history, people had pension plans and they had Social Security. Those were the two things that majority of people they were depending on, was the pension and the Social Security for their employer. So there was no other market, anything that guaranteed I'm going to have money for the rest of my life when it's over. Now, less than 13% of employers even offer a pension. And if they do, they're kind of non-existent or unheard of. My personal testimony is I actually had a pension with my first employer. And the thing is, because we are not taught or educated in school about how to plan for retiring, how to plan to purchase a house, how to invest or diversify our portfolio, we're never taught that. So when I had my first job, it just so happened to be in finance. So I had to learn as I went. But even within that first employment, I still didn't understand the value of what I had. Because I worked for a finance company, I had a CD, I had a performing money market that didn't require me to keep a minimum balance. I had a pension, a great 401k. Now I know I had great things and the best health insurance that I ever had, and never got that back again. So, after understanding the value of what I had after the fact, then I realized, okay, what's the value and what's the intended purpose? When I left that job, I didn't know what to do. They said, what do you want to do about your pension? I mean, I didn't know what to do, what my options were. They were just like, they were going to cut me a check. So I just took it. But had I known I could probably roll it over, do something else with it, then I would have made better decisions. The CD that I had at that time was a 3-year CD at 7.4%. Guess what? I thought that was a bad rate. You know why I thought that was a bad rate? Because my money market account, where I could go in and out without penalty, was performing at 10.5%. So I thought, well, 7.4 is low. But think about where our rates have been for many years now. That probably, you may not ever see that again. And I didn't understand the value because rates were higher on the earnings side at the time. So I didn't think it was bad. Just like people may feel like the mortgage rates are high now. But when I started financing and doing mortgages in 2001, a good rate would have been maybe 11.5%. A bad rate might have been near 17%. So it's all in mindset and perspective. So that's why it's good to be educated. So you know how to make moves, especially in real estate and retirement are one and the same. Sometimes there's some falsehoods and belief about rates, which that necessarily doesn't mean it's not a good time to buy. It's not a good time to do things. It's just all in strategy and having the education and the knowledge to know how to plan in any type of environment. And that's my goal for everybody and all of you, is that regardless of what the market's doing, you shouldn't be affected. If you plan and prepare correctly, regardless if the market goes up and down or not, and if you have your things diversified, where all of your eggs are not in one basket, and 100%, if you're over the age of 40, all of your eggs should not be in the market. You should definitely have a safety where some of that money starts going to something that's protected. So, I mean, as a financial professional, I've done it all. At the bank, I've done SEP IRAs, IRA conversions, Roth IRAs, 401ks, so on and so forth, referred to trade lines, whatever the case may be. But what I focus on now is teaching people about another history that you guys may not be familiar with because they don't really talk about it anymore. But annuities have been around for thousands of years. Thousands of years. So think about gold. We think about gold in biblical times. Gold never loses its value. That's why people continuously invest in gold. They had gold in the Bible. Annuities have been around for thousands of years. So that's the vehicle nobody talks about. But there's so many different types of vehicles. You need to be educated. But I will definitely say a great safeguard right now is investing in a fixed index annuity, because a fixed index annuity gives you safety of principal, still gives you that growth, like if you were on the market, but not all the way, but you get credits towards the market, so you can still have growth. And there are annuities that have compounded interest, and there are annuities that have no fees. So that's a big deal. When you go to Fidelity or Vanguard, you have to sometimes pay management fees, and then you're still in the market. I like self-directed IRAs. I like Roth. Now they have tax advantages because you can withdraw the money tax-free or maybe have other tax advantages, but you're still in the market. You're still losing money. It's still going up and down. Maybe not as much as a 401k, but it's still going up and down. So I'm just saying, just don't forget about that as an option. Take care. Be blessed.